Good morning, dear students. In this series of lectures, today we will take up Act 2, Scene 1 of the play Loyalties, penned by John Galsworthy. 3 weeks have passed. The scene is now shifted to a club in London. Some of the persons already mentioned in the first act are members of the club. August Boring and Lord St. Earth are there with Windsor and General Canning. There are rooms for card and billiard players. The stage direction gives us not only a picture of the club, it also tells us about its atmosphere. A game of cards is going on, accompanied with useful remarks which players engrossed in give usually make St. Earth has a partiality for whist, which is no more popular. Bridge has taken its place. Canning sides with him, and Windsor, as a younger man, is of course for bridge. After some conversation about card games, Canning announces that he wants to find out which horse won the Cambridgeshire race. At that moment, Lord St. Earth informed General Canning that D. Levi's application for the membership of another club was rejected. Both Canning and Windsor are shocked by this information. The reason was that General Canning and Windsor had promised De Levis that they would support his application for the membership. But for this, De Levis would have to withhold his accusation against Dancy. Now the plan has obviously failed. While they sit there playing cards, Major Colford, another friend of Dancy, and the other English people of the groups, comes in and informs them that D. Levis had just then publicly accused Dancy of having stolen his money at Meldon Court, Newmarket. General Canning tells Colford to send D. Levis to them and to prevent Dancy from leaving the club. He then explains to Lord St. Earth that he had known about the accusation but had forced the Levi's to keep quiet with the promise of membership of the Jockey Club. He pointed out that this was the reason why he had asked Lord St. Earth to support the Levi's application. He further said that in the old days of duel fighting, people had to control their tongues because they could not make false accusations. Lord St. Earth is a more rational person. He points out that the duel never proved who was right and who was wrong. It merely proved as to who a better fighter was. Windsor provides the information that Cantman, the bookie, had given the numbers of two of the stolen notes to the police, but that the notes had not been traced yet. D. Levis enters the card room. He says that the rejection of his application for membership of the Jockey Club was very unfair. General Canning tells him that because of his accusation, both D. Levis and Dancy could not continue as members of the club. Hence, they asked D. Levis to explain his accusation before demanding the resignation of one or the another. De Levis, in his turn, threatens to tell people that General Canning had supported him for the membership of one club and asked him to resign from the other. He means to suggest that Canning was an unreliable person. He supported his application for one club, thus showing his approval of D. Lewis, and then asked him to resign from another, thus showing his disapproval of D. Lewis. Siddharth then remarks that, to him, D. Lewis appears to be a poisonous young man. D. Lewis is in an angry mood. He replies by saying that their behavior is like chasing a man like a pack of dogs just because he belongs to a different race that seems venomous to him. For some time, this conversation continues. Both sides accuse each other. Canning requests Colford to call Dancy so that he can be told of the accusation. When Windsor asks him whether it would be fair to acquaint Dancy about it, General Canning replies that the duty is the duty is to the club, not to Dancy. Soon Dancy comes. He is told about the accusation made by D. Lewis. When told of the reasons for the accusation, Dancy immediately offers to fight a duel with D. Lewis with any weapon and at any place which D. Lewis chooses. Siddharth at once tells him that it was a matter that cannot be settled fighting fighting. He immediately resigns. Then D. Lewis suggests that his yes, he advises him to take the matter to the court in order to protect his own reputation. But D. Lewis asks him about the open door of his bedroom. Dancy says that he has no knowledge of it. D. Lewis suggests that his wife should be asked about it. At this, Dancy abuses D. Lewis and calls him a damned Jew. In return, D. Lewis calls him a thief. He immediately resigns the membership of the club and says that he would meet them in the court. After making this comment, he leaves the room. Now, St. Earth turns to Dancy and asks him whether he would take the matter to the court. Dancy says that legal suits are very expensive and he is very poor, and so he will have to think over the matter seriously before doing anything. After Dancy's departure, there is some doubt in the minds of his friends regarding his attitude to the problems. Major Colford is willing to believe in what Dancy says. Colford is his friend. Canning also says that he would believe in Dancy's honesty for the sake of the honor of the army and the club. Windsor is quite certain that even if Dancy brings a case and wins it and gets damages, he would always have a stain on his reputation unless the real thief was found. There would always be a stain or a stigma on his character. After the departure of the others, Vincent tells Colford that General Canning had felt Dancy's coat sleeve on the night of the theft and he had found it wet. Colford, however, is unwilling to suspect Dancy because Dancy is a brother officer and a friend. He says that even if Dancy were the thief, he would help him as far as possible. Now let's check out Act 2, Scene 2. This scene occurs next morning after the incident in the club. We are taken to Dancy's flat in London. Mabel and Margaret Orme are sitting. Mabel, Mabel is Dancy's wife, tells Margaret that accusation against Dancy is monstrous. Margaret suggests that Dancy will have to bring an action for defamation of character. Mabel agrees and replies that They will fight tooth and nail. Margaret recalls that General Canning was there last night, but he was the silent all the time. Mabel is shocked. She remarks that she did not like half hearted friends. It is loyalty towards one's friends which comes before everything. This turns the conversation to loyalty and a spirit of corps, which is the theme of the play. In this connection, Margaret Orme throws the hint that loyalties cut up against each other. At this stage, Mabel goes out to call Dancy on the phone, and in the meantime, Lady Adela comes in. She too has come to talk about the painful affair, the accusation against Dancy. Both of them agree that Dancy must bring the issue at the court of law in order to clear his name. Lady Adela recalls that after the scene in the club, General Canning went to Kentman Gould and they informed him that they told Dancy about the sale. Margaret boldly asserts that she must help Dancy, who stands in need of help and who belongs to their group. Lady Adela shows great sympathy with Dancy, but remarks that this sort of attitude is very narrow. Margaret comments that the Jew always stick together and therefore they should also help one another. Adela points out that her own grandmother was a Jewess, but she was proud of her. Margaret remarks that these are all prejudices and they run across one another. In fact, people cut each other's throats from the best of motives. But Lady Adela recalls that Canning happened to feel that Dancy's coat was wet. Margaret remarked that this was perhaps the reason why Canning was silent. She then tells Adela that Dancy has always lived a life of excitement. If there is no excitement, he will make it out of sheer craving. Even just before the marriage, he was having an affair with a foreign looking girl, though Mrs. Dancy does not know anything about it. Meanwhile, Dancy returns almost on the heels of Mabel, who was returned after making a call over the telephone. Dancy does not like words of sympathy from the two lady visitors and they immediately go away. His behavior against the wife is rigid. Her complaint that he kept the whole affair secret from her is not properly replied to. Dancy proposes to escape to Nairobi, but Mabel insists that the false accusation must be fought out first so that Dancy may clear himself from the charge of theft. She cannot be persuaded to believe that the verdict is uncertain. It's, however, decided that a lawyer must be consulted. To the surprise of Mabel, out of all people, D. Lewis comes in, explaining the reason of his visit. He says that he came in return of the call of Dancy at his house. Unfortunately, he was out of home then. Mabel takes this opportunity of complaining to D. Lewis of his robbing Dancy of his fair name. D. Lewis, in return, admires her for believing in the innocence of her husband. When she asks him to write an apology to Dancy and behave like a gentleman, D. Lewis hinted that he could have retracted, had his allegation withdrawn, and spared Mrs. Dancy of the pain he had caused her to suffer. But now he could not, as race has been insulted, and himself has been called a damned Jew by Dancy. At this stage, Dancy comes in from his bedroom. He has a paper in his hand. He wanted Davidwise to sign the paper. On the paper, a written apology in Dancy's favor is written. Davidwise refuses to sign it. After an unsuccessful appeal of Mabel, Dancy loses all grounds of persuading Davidwise to beg pardon. He feels frustrated. He cries out, "Get out, you swine! Get out, you swine!" Dancy is in great anger. He moves towards Dealewise as if he would physically attack him. Mabel prevents them from coming into grips. Dancy throws into fire the paper containing the apology. Dealewise goes out with a smile on his face. When Mabel and Dancy are left alone after the exciting experience, dramatic situation of intense interest arises. Dancy wants to know if Mabel believes him to be a thief. Mabel asks if he did steal Dealey's money. It's only for a moment that she was in doubt. Then she became intensely remorseful that she ever doubted her husband, that she was blindly loyal to Dancy, and hurries him to consult Mr. Jacob Twiston, the celebrated lawyer of London society. That's all for today, and have a nice day. Thank you.